Welcome back, guys. So this is where the real work starts. I want to introduce you to wireframe. So just like when you want to build a house, you would have someone to design the plan, the way the house would look, the site plan, the floor plan and all that. It's just the same way when you want to design a product on Figma. You have to wireframe first if you want to follow the procedure. So wireframing is just where you design the layout of your website or mobile app. So it's just like you being an architect before a builder or an engineer builds a house. So that's what wireframes are. So wireframes are used to build your design layouts, be it your website, be it your mobile app. These are products, so you have to take them seriously. You have to design the layouts first and you have to develop on those layouts. So we have different types of wireframe. So we have the low-fi, there's low-fi wireframe. So we have types of wireframes. So you could say types of wireframes and you'll see the types we have. We have the low-fi, which is low fidelity wireframe, and we have the mid fidelity wireframe, and we have the high-fi, which is the high fidelity wireframe. Don't worry, I'll add an article in the next lesson where you get to read about the low-fi, the mid-fi and the high-fi. So the low fidelity is just a simple page schematic, usually in black and white. So this is an example of a low-fi wireframe, as you could see. So this is an example of the low-fi. Then this is MIFI. MIFI has a little bit of details, so it says adds more detail and functionality focus, features more accurate representation of layout, affords distraction like typography or images, assigns more detail to specific components, as you could see. And this is the HiFi. This is an example of an HiFi. So HiFi is close to the final product with detailed design elements, matches the look and feel of the final product, more refined and polished overall. Other types of wireframes are annotated wireframes, user flow wireframes, and interactive high definition wireframes. So wireframes are a vital step in the web design process, providing a preview of what the final product will look like. So basically that's all about wireframes. So wireframes are like the plan, the layout to your website or to your mobile apps, and this is the first thing you get to do immediately you want to design. The first thing you get to do is the wireframe. So wireframe is where you get to brainstorm and design the first layout of the website. Then you can develop from the low-fi to the mid-fi to the high-fi. Before we proceed, I told you we'll come back to talk about FigJam board. FigJam board is like Figma's whiteboard. So it's just like you having a physical board in a design office where you get to brainstorm ideas, you get to do some prototyping, or you get to do some sketching. So it's just like a whiteboard. So let's just see some features on FigJam. So you could use FigJam, you could use a new slide deck. This is a new tool, is a new update, so we could just leave that for now, because you as a designer, you need to know how to create presentation, you need to know how to brainstorm and all that. So FigJam provides you with a tool to do all that, to brainstorm and all that. So let's use FigJam board right now. So let's see what this is all about. So yeah, this is Figma's whiteboard, which is FigJam. It's just a plain board where you get to add things. So you could bring in your sticky notes, for instance, in an idea room where brainstorming is going on, you have things like these as your sticky notes. So you could bring them in and type in anything you want to type in. So you could easily type in let's design a mobile app. So you could easily pin that and you could say the name of the mobile app will be Billard Creatives. So you could do a lot of brainstorming right here. So this is where you get to think out loud and all that. You could change the color to like a yellow if you don't want it to be a blue. So you could change the color of this two to like a yellow. You could change the text, you could change the fonts. So you could change like a bookish font, and you could change it from small to medium or to large. It depends on what you want. So you could change to medium, and as you could see right here, so different people could drop their ideas. Like you could see, you could share something, you could invite people to come in to drop ideas. So it could be a group of designer where you invite other people to come in to drop their ideas. So not only you could drop yours and you see the name of the person that dropped this Billard Creative Studio, and that designer could drop theirs and you see their name, you see what they are talking about. So it's just for you to pin ideas and talk about what is achievable and what is not. So this is just a phase where you get to ideate and brainstorm about your design. So you could add more things. As you could see, we have the hand tool here as well. The hand tool makes you move around just like we've discussed in Figma itself, and you have the select tool. So the select tool makes you select something and move it around right here. So you could see right here we have the select tool right there. So this is select tool, this is the and tool. These are different customizations that could be done, and you could add link, you could add bulleted list, so it depends on what you want. You could show or hide author, so that would be the name. It could be shown, it could be hidden, so you could choose to stay anonymous and all that. So there, so basically this is it. So these are sticky notes which I've shown you, and we have shapes just like the square. So you could actually use this to create something like a user flow, something like this. So let me just come right here and say I want to create a user flow. So I could do something like this. I could say I want to create something like this, and you could create something like this. You could change the color to like a sky blue, and you could say this will be the home screen. So you could say we are starting with an home screen, and you could connect it. So these are connectors. You could connect this to this just to build another. So you bring in another, like something like this, and this connects to this. So you have something like this. From home screen you navigate to the about us. So you could create something like a simple sketch for yourself to use in FigJam. So FigJam is a very useful tool. Most people tend to use it and most people does not like it, so you could choose to use it or not. But we have other plugins. Like I said, if you want to create a wireframe and user flow, we have plugins for that on Figma, but this is just FigJam. And you could rename your file right here. You could say the ideation process, you could say the ideation process, just like we have it on Figma. You could create pages. So this could be, you could rename this page to be the user flow. You could say this will be the user flow. It depends on what you want to do. So this could be the user flow. You could add another and say, okay, this now you have to upgrade by $3 to have unlimited pages, but this one you can only have one page right now on the free version. So you could add more connectors and connect this. So you could choose to connect this to another. You could say the next will be, you could bring in something like this. So you could say the next will be services. Yeah, this could be, the next could be like services. Yeah, could have something like these services. So you could choose to do more connection to this. In the home screen you could say you want to add more things. So you could add something like a connector again. You could choose the connector and try to connect something right here. So you could go down this way and connect a sub like under the home screen. So after the home screen you could say you want something like testimonials. Okay, you could say you want something like a, yeah, you could say you want something like a testimonials. Yeah, under this you could say you want something like a testimonials, and you could choose to connect more. You could choose to connect this connector and say something like this. You could use other shape as well. You could just bring in this and name this. You could say this one should be your mission and vision. So you could have something like this, and you could list your services right here. So basically this is for ideation, and we've talked about this. We've not talked about markers. So you could use markers to scribble something. You could say okay, you could create a simple wireframe and do something like this, and do something like this, and say something like this. Then you create an hero session. So these are markers, just like the way you use a whiteboard. If you've learned about, or you've been to an office where design is being carried out, there's always a whiteboard for scribbling, for sketching, for dropping ideas. So this is what FigJam serves as. This is the purpose FigJam serves on Figma, and you could use it to do anything. But you don't have to worry about FigJam. I'm just showing you basic things you could do on FigJam because it's limited. You have to subscribe to use it maximally, but right now I just want to show you what FigJam does, so you don't have to be clueless about it. And you could access plugins on FigJam as well. So like I said, you could do a lot to it, FigJam, and right here you could access the template file, and with the template file you get to see things you could do with FigJam. You could use it to do some meetings, you could use it for diagramming. So we have some templates. You could use it for some planning, you could use it for brainstorming, and you could use it as a designer, or you use it as a developer. So it depends on what you want to do. So you could check some brainstorming, you could take some templates from here, and you'll be able to use some templates. So you could see meta model, you could see random words, you could see round robin templates, and we have all that. So you could check more and see everything you have. So we have the FigJam right here, so you can take any of these templates to be used, and you can come to the planning. You see planning, you see your product review, you see your SWOT prioritization matrix, you see your team charter. So if you actually go through all these, you'll see what you could do with FigJam, and you could actually take some of these templates to be used for yourself. So we have storyboard. So all these are just design psychology and design concepts. So there's something called storyboard. So you could use this template to create a storyboard, and you could choose to customize it the way you want to. You could just change the text, change everything about it to what suits you, and that's what you could use FigJam for. So you could see we have the generate. So you could actually use AI to generate something on FigJam. So you could go on to generate something. You say, I want to create a user flow, generate a template for me. Okay, so let's see what this will be. So let's try to generate that, and let's see the possibility of that being used to generate a user flow template for us. And this is what it just did. As you could see, it just generated a user flow template for us. So anything you feel like you don't want right here could be deleted. So let's delete every other thing we've done so far. So we could delete them and let's have them deleted. So we could use the user flow templates that we just use generative AI to create from FigJam. So FigJam has a lot of features that could be used for you, and you don't have to stress yourself a bit. So we could just come here, and this is the flow chart. So you could do something with the flow chart. You could use this to design your flow chart right here. So this is it right now, and you could check that out. So we have this, and you could choose to just zoom out the same way we zoom on Figma is the same way you zoom on FigJam. So right now that's what I just did. So I use my plus button to zoom, and I could use my minus button to zoom out. So here we have it. So you could just edit all these to what suits you, and you could delete whatever part you don't want. You could delete all those parts. So this has generated a user flow for us. So you could use the generative AI to, like I said, and these are the templates. The same way you dropped comments on Figma, you could drop comments right here. So you could use FigJam the same way you are using Figma. Once you understand the interface of Figma, you'll be able to understand FigJam as well. That's if needs be for you to use it. So you could add text, you could add session, you could add table, you could add stamp. So it depends on what you want to. You could add plugins from here, and you could see easily from here plugins, widgets, templates, stickers. So you could add it all on FigJam. I hope to see you in the next lesson. I've spoken about FigJam. I hope to see you in the next lesson. See you there.